Good Thursday morning. We start off with some breaking news. Police have surrounded a fast food restaurant in the West Valley.
A Jack in the Box is the scene of a hostage situation, and that's where we find Yetta Gibson, who fills us in on all the details. Good morning, Yetta.
Good morning, Javi. Yeah, a wild situation out here. It's only 4:30 this morning, but as you said, yes, a hostage situation out here at the Jack in the Box at 43rd Avenue and Bethany Home. We are told a man inside of this Jack in the Box held the place up, and from what we're hearing from witnesses, there were at least two women inside when this all started. And we were told this started about 2 o'clock this morning. Now, we were told both those women who were inside were employees. There were no customers. One woman, a little bit earlier, we are told had been released from the restaurant, but right now we hear that there is one woman still inside. Hopefully you can see inside the restaurant. It looks like SWAT team is inside. We're not sure if this is over yet. It seems as though it is, but either way, police have not come over and told us anything so far. Details around the hostage situation, we just don't know yet because police are obviously busy working this, but a lot of folks who live around here say there's obviously been a lot of action around here since about 2 o'clock this morning. Here's one guy.
Some more of the officers got together, about 3 or 4 of them got together, went to the rear of the restaurant and opened the back door and started giving commands to drop the gun, come out with your hands up, and just continually repeated that, but nobody came out.
You got one in custody. Okay, back out here live. Okay, we are being told by police right now that there are 2 suspects. One of them, I believe they have in custody. The other they are looking for inside of the restaurant, yes? Okay, so obviously this situation is still going on right now, and we will bring you the latest as soon as we get it. But again, a hostage situation that started around 2 o'clock this morning, and it started out with 2 women. One woman was released. We are told now there are 2 suspects. They do have one in custody. The other suspect, I believe, SWAT team, they are still inside looking for that guy. So we're going to get all the details together once police comes over and briefs us, and we'll bring you the latest at some point during Good Morning Arizona.
We will check back in. All right, thank you, Yetta.
Now, the I-10 near Chandler Boulevard is reopening this morning after a massive fire burned off the top layer of asphalt.
This was a crazy story. You'll recall it topped our headlines yesterday morning. But now, as we look toward our morning commute, what's the situation with drivers, G?
Boy, what a disaster, because one of the busiest spots in all our morning commute, I-10, right where it meets the Santan Freeway, was shut down. Let's go ahead and talk about what it looked like yesterday. Did you get to catch the video? Wow, it was tremendous. It all started when a milk truck and a diesel tanker collided during the morning commute yesterday, and you can see there it sent flames and black smoke hundreds of feet into the air, and DPS confirms that one driver did indeed die in this accident. All right, now let me go ahead and give you a live look at the area right now. I've got the ADOT camera pulled up for you. This is the I-10, and this camera's at Chandler Boulevard, but you can see it's looking down in the area. Now, ADOT had told us their goal for getting the I-10 open was 5 a.m., but you can see here already open at this point, and I should mention that's the inbound side or the westbound side. So if you're getting ready to head out, no problems remaining on the I-10. By the way, while I've got you, we've got a report of an accident I-10 eastbound at Queen Creek. That's just past the scene here, but I'm not hearing that this is too serious, so a little good news there.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Gina. Well, as we get closer and closer to the weekend, we're getting a better idea of what this weekend storm is going to do. There's NASCAR this weekend. There's the breast cancer 3-day walk. A lot going on. So here's the latest thinking on this. Satellite radar this morning shows we've got some clouds spreading into the state. And what you'll notice as you walk outside this morning, it is windy, off and on. Strong winds out of the east, 10 to 20 miles an hour. Look for stronger gusts. There's our storm system off the west coast. Right now, 57 at Scottsdale and Tempe, 59 at Glendale, and 62 downtown. And now today will stay dry and will stay nice and warm just like yesterday, topping out in the mid-70s. We'll call for a high of 76. Those clouds increasing as the day goes on. The storm track for the weekend, it's changed a little bit. The timing's changed. We're going to update you on that coming up in just a couple of minutes.
4:34 new overnight. A fire tears through a Glendale home, unfortunately killing 2 people. It happened near Cactus and 64th Avenue. According to neighbors, they heard a loud noise and then saw flame and smoke shooting out of that home. Firefighters say 2 people were found dead inside that home, along with some pets. The cause of the fire is currently under investigation. Well, riots break out after legendary football coach Joe Paterno is fired.
Last night, the Penn State Board of Trustees ousted the coach in the wake of a sex abuse scandal involving a former assistant coach. We want you! We want you! About 2,000 Penn State fans got out of control after word of Paterno's firing. The crowd tore down lampposts and tipped over a news van. Police were forced to use pepper spray at times. The board fired Paterno along with University President Graham Spanier following allegations former assistant coach Jerry Sandusky. He is accused of sexually abusing at least 8 boys from 1994 to 2009. Paterno allegedly learned of an incident in 2002. He told the athletic director, but school administrators turned a blind eye.
I would hope that everyone would agree that what we're doing is what we believe in our best judgment is in the best long-term interest of the university, which is much larger than athletic programs.
Paterno has issued a statement saying he is disappointed with the board's decision, but has accepted it.
Well, back here at home, the Lake Havasu City Fire Department is mourning the loss of one of their own. A plane crash claimed the life of a longtime fire captain and his family. Yesterday, search crews found the wreckage in an area of rugged terrain near Lake Alamo. The family was traveling back from Glendale Sunday night from an Arizona Cardinals game when Captain Don Masica didn't show up for his shift. Well, colleagues realized something was wrong. Masica had been with the fire department for 33 years.
Don was a great guy. He was always willing to give everything he had to the community, to us, to the department. He was just a guy you could always count on to be there when he was needed.
The FAA is investigating this crash.
Well, 5 Chandler Middle School students are facing criminal charges this morning for allegedly threatening a teacher. The incident happened last week when a teacher at Santan Junior High School got a hold of a handwritten note being passed around her class. The students were describing how she would be killed. Each one is now charged with 1 count of threatening and intimidating. They will also face school disciplinary action. Another Chandler school was evacuated after a bomb scare. It happened at the East Valley Jewish Community Center yesterday afternoon. Suspicious package was found and police evacuated the school and the immediate surrounding area. Police searched the area and used a robot to inspect the package. Well, it turned out to be a serving platter and everyone was allowed back in.
Well, a scary story here. A Phoenix man travels halfway across the country to meet a woman he met online, only to be stabbed 300 times during what police call a satanic sex game. The 18-year-old is alive but in the hospital this morning. According to police, that man took a bus to Milwaukee. That's when police reports indicate he was tied up for 2 days while he was cut and stabbed. Police found bloody duct tape and rope in the bedroom, as well as 2 cult books. 22-year-old Rebecca Chandler is now in jail, but told police the sex was consensual. Her roommate was also arrested and accused in participating. Well, results of a second autopsy on Rebecca Zauhau will not be released until sometime next week. She's a Valley woman you might recall who was discovered dead at a Scottsdale CEO's California mansion. Zauhau was found bound, naked, and hanging from a balcony. Investigators determined it was suicide, but her family doesn't believe that and have launched their own investigation. Dr. Phil was scheduled to reveal the autopsy results on today's show, but now those results will be in a 2-part series Monday and Tuesday.
In today's court report, testimony continues today in the sentencing stage for the trial for convicted baseline killer.
This man decided who would live and who would die.
Mark Godot was convicted of 9 murders and 58 other crimes, including rape and kidnapping. Wednesday, jurors heard emotional testimony from the victims' families to help them decide whether Godot should get a life sentence or the death penalty. Today, the jury will hear from more of the victims. They will then hear from Godot's family and friends. A La Valley woman has been found guilty of second-degree murder for the death of a cab driver. Investigators say last year, 34-year-old Corletha Davis shot and killed the cab driver outside an apartment complex in Phoenix near 27th Avenue in Glendale. The victim was 37-year-old Brian Mann. He'd only been driving a cab for a few months. He leaves behind a 5-year-old son. Davis is scheduled to be sentenced next month. And it is day 3 today in the pre-sentencing hearings of the self-help guru James Arthur Ray. Back in June, Ray was convicted for involuntary manslaughter for the deaths of 3 people during a 2009 sweat lodge ceremony near Sedona. The hearings are to help determine how Ray will be sentenced. They're scheduled to last into next week, and then a judge will sentence Ray on November 18th. He faces up to 10 years in prison.
Today, state Senate Republicans will meet to replace the man once considered the most powerful politician in Arizona. In a closed caucus, lawmakers will pick a new state Senate president after the chamber's former leader, Russell Pierce, lost his recall election Tuesday. He was defeated by charter school executive Jerry Lewis, who won with 53% of the votes to Pierce's 45. Lewis is expected to attend today's caucus. Well, new pictures this morning of Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords as she continues her recovery. Giffords and her husband, retired astronaut Mark Kelly, are on the cover of this week's People magazine. The couple shared personal photos and excerpts from their new memoir out next week. Kelly recalled the first time his wife tried to speak after the January 8th Tucson shooting, but realized she couldn't. He writes, quote, Gabby was sitting in her wheelchair, tears running down her face. She was hyperventilating, absolutely panicked. Gabby motioned with her left hand, waving it by her mouth. Now, it didn't take me long to figure out what was wrong. Definitely something you want to pick up. I was watching NBC Nightly News last night, and they were explaining that it took Mark Giffords about a month or so before he actually explained to her what happened. And to this day, she's still slowly recalling that tragic day in Tucson. Wow. There are also some photos there of moments before the shooting happened. I guess somebody attending that rally that was outside that Safeway out there as well.
Photos we haven't seen before.
You got to check that out.
Yeah, we'll do.
Well, coming up on Good Morning Arizona, they sacrificed their lives for the freedom of our country, but some disturbing numbers out this morning about how many veterans are homeless. We'll tell you what's being done here in the Valley to help.
But first, Alaska gets pummeled by a monster winter storm. We'll have details on that.
Plus, another deadline in the NBA lockout. Find out if owners and players were able to strike a deal to save their season. .45, catching up on the CNN headlines this morning. Texas Governor and presidential hopeful Rick Perry might need to sharpen his debate skills. He fumbled during last night's GOP debate. Listen in.
And I will tell you, it's 3 agencies of government when I get there that are gone. Commerce, education, and the, what's the third one there? Let's see. The EPA? EPA, there you go. No, again. Oops.
What about the EPA?
Oops, big time. Yeah, meanwhile, the debate gave Herman Cain another chance to combat the sexual harassment allegations against him. The audience booed when Cain was asked whether the American people should be cautious about electing a president with alleged character issues. Cain shot back he values his integrity and maintained those accusations are false. The rest of the debate focused on jobs and the economy. Now, all of the candidates on the stage pitched large cuts to the federal budget while pledging to not raise taxes. Well, despite a 12-hour meeting, there is still no deal this morning in the NBA lockout. Players and owners negotiated into the wee hours of the night, but Derek Fisher, the president of the Players Union, said there is no significant progress. NBA season has been canceled through at least November 30th. Both sides say they hope a resolution can be reached before all games are called off. Both sides will meet again today. Well, check out this incredible video of a powerful storm hitting western Alaska with hurricane strength. The winter storm reached winds upwards of 100 miles per hour. Some coastal villages were hit with flooding and power was knocked out as well. Forecasters warned about potential blizzards and heavy freezing ocean spray. State and federal emergency officials are working with the Coast Guard to respond to any of those problems. And I know looking at that, you got to wonder, any of that storm system headed our direction, April?
Yeah, not here in the Southwest. That's the good news. But a little piece of it's going to break off and move through the Pacific Northwest. And that's what Tim Ring and Tyler Baldwin were talking about yesterday when they were referencing the snowy and windy conditions that the Sun Devils are going to face in Pullman this weekend. So that's at least part from that big storm in Alaska. Here at home, we've got some wind this morning. Check out Sky Harbor's current reading. It's 60 degrees, which you'll notice is a little warmer than the past couple of mornings. But also winds out of the east at 12 miles an hour. Relative humidity this morning is down a bit at 30%. Here's current temperatures around the valley, and rather than upper 30s, low 40s, we've got upper 50s and low 60s. 62 downtown, 57 at Scottsdale and Tempe, 56 right now at Gilbert and Mesa, upper 40s in Avondale, mid 50s all across the west, the rest of the west side. Here's a look at our satellite and radar. Our high pressure ridge, it's on the move. It brought us into the 70s yesterday with some warmer weather, but as it shifts away from us, the circulation around it, that's what's going to drive the strong easterly winds, especially throughout the late morning, early afternoon hours. We could see some gusts up to 35 miles an hour. Now, ahead of our next storm system, we're getting these clouds into the state, so partly sunny by the afternoon hours, and then a mostly cloudy Veterans Day on tap for tomorrow. Here's the storm, though, that we're looking at for the weekend. This is forecast to cut off from the jet stream, so we call it a cutoff low, but rather than moving to the north of us or through Arizona, it's now forecast to push by to our south. That means it's not going to bring as much cold air into the state, not as much rain and snow either, and the timing has changed a bit as well. Today, 46 for Flagstaff, 73 for Tucson, and 74 for Lake Havasu. 76 for the valley, partly sunny and windy today. Overnight tonight, those winds will calm down a bit, partly cloudy. 56 for an overnight low. Again, not as cold thanks to those clouds. Mostly cloudy for Friday. Your Veterans Day, though, should stay fairly warm at 75 degrees. It's actually pretty close to average for this time of year. Saturday, it's looking like only a very slight chance of showers now. I'd call it maybe a 10% chance during the day, but during the evening hours, there is about a 30% chance. And by Sunday, that's the better chance. It's looking like maybe a 40% chance during the day on Sunday. But check out the temperatures. They drop to the mid 60s for Sunday and Monday. The overnight temperatures, though, without the lack of cold air, we're just not going to drop much. Overnight temperatures should stay in the mid 40s to mid 50s.
Time now is 4:49. Let's go ahead and get a check of your traffic, and let's check in on the west side of town. Yesterday, with that big tanker fire on the east side of town, I hope you all didn't feel neglected on the west side, but you know what? Right now, we are looking good. Good morning, West Siders. I-10 and 51st Avenue, that's the inbound side or the eastbound side. We're keeping a close eye on things, though. Right now, very quiet, but I'll give you a heads up when there's trouble out there that'll slow you down.
Wasn't a good sounding bell. It was a horrible day on Wall Street. Yesterday, stocks plummeted. The Dow dropped nearly 400 points over new concerns about Europe's debt crisis. NASDAQ fell 100 points and the S&P lost 46. Well, remember the talk about the banks charging to use your debit cards? Well, credit unions are cashing in on that. Saturday, 40,000 people switched to credit unions. A social media push dubbed Bank Transfer Day was responsible for that. There was growing anger over proposed debit card fees, which have now been dropped. Even still, many people made that switch. The Credit Union National Association says over the past 5 weeks, an estimated 650,000 people have joined new credit unions. Well, Cox Communications is now part of a new low-cost plan for internet access. Low-income families can get internet access for only $9.99 a month. Now, to get this deal, you must have a child enrolled in the National School Lunch Program, and you cannot be current or recent broadband subscriber. The $9.99 monthly price will only apply for a 2-year contract.
Well, as we honor our veterans this week, we're also learning just how many of them are struggling with homelessness in our community. A group of volunteers with the Coalition to End Homelessness is surveying homeless veterans, and they are finding in shelters and on the streets. They estimate there are around 1,200 in Maricopa County. Well, most of them are from the Vietnam era. The survey is also finding a lot of younger vets from recent wars.
We got so many of these young soldiers going back 4 or 5 times that they come back, they're not the same person anymore. You don't come back the same person when you go overseas. You come back someone else.
A new facility opened in Phoenix this week to help those homeless vets. 75-unit home called Victory Place will offer affordable housing and a variety of services to help homeless vets get back on their feet.
A lot of concern for these men and women coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. What's going to happen now? So hopefully we get some help for them. Well, still ahead, her owner could not get her out. Firefighters couldn't get her out.
Find out how this doggie's little paw was finally freed from a bath drain.
splash, I was taking a bath. Long about a Saturday night. Yeah. Rubbed up just
Well, check out this pooch in a pickle. Her name is Lulu, and as she was getting a bath, Lulu got her back paw stuck in the drain. Her owner spent an hour trying to free her before finally calling in the fire department. Well, they didn't have any success either because Lulu wouldn't cooperate. So in came the veterinarian to sedate her. A few minutes later, firefighters had freed her. The vet says Lulu's paw is just fine. Yet Chihuahuas are kind of like that. They're probably not going to cooperate. They like to yip and bite a little bit.
They're a little feisty.
They are a little feisty.
Yeah, poor little Lulu. Glad she's okay.
Oh, no kidding. All right, well, stick with us. We've got so much more coming up this morning on Good Morning Arizona. The very latest on that hostage situation at a Phoenix Jack-in-the-Box. We'll have the latest word from officials on the scene coming up in a live report.
Plus, they called it a tax on Christmas. Now a proposed agriculture tax on fresh-cut trees is getting the axe. We'll have details coming up.
And take a look outside, a full moon and some partly cloudy skies to view it still. 60 degrees your current temperature, not all that cold. We'll warm it up to 76 this afternoon. Your full forecast also coming up.